Welcome to Jupiter. I'm Josh Liller. I'm the historian for the Loxahatchee River Historical Society. We're all about preserving the history of Jupiter-Tequesta area and the Loxahatchee River region, from our early Native Americans to the pioneers, all the way through present day. And of course, that includes our beautiful, historic, iconic lighthouse behind me. Been here since 1860. So we're here in Jupiter, where we've had people living for 5,000 years. People started coming down here to the Jupiter area in the late 19th century. They came down the Indian River first to hunt and fish. This was the end of the Indian River, and the lighthouse was a great place to stop to find out more about the area from the lighthouse keepers, get fresh water at the well at the lighthouse. And as more people started coming down here via the steamboats, later the railroads, people were settling along the Loxahatchee River, enjoying the great fishing, starting to become farmers in the area and eventually homesteaders. Where we are right now is the site of the Carlin House. This was a pioneer establishment, our first land-based hotel in Jupiter. The Carlin family first worked at the lighthouse, and then Captain Carlin became head keeper of the new life-saving station where Carlin Park is today. Having built this house for his family, he realized that they could also open up as a boarding house to provide a place to stay for the people coming down in the steamboats, looking for land to buy, waiting for the railroad down to Lake Worth, and the Carlin House opened up as our first hotel. While Captain Carlin was busy with the life-saving station and boat building, his wife Mary and their daughters ran the house as a boarding home and an amazing restaurant, provided real high-quality hospitality down here, and that life-saving station that I mentioned brought new pioneers to this area from the crew. They worked at the station helping to save people, and they realized it was such a great area, they wanted to move here permanently too. One of those guys was Harry Du Bois. He started growing pineapples and then bought the property right by the inlet. They included a Native American shell mound dating back thousands of years. In 1898, he built a home on top of that mound that's still there today. Harry raised the family there with his wife, who he met when she was teaching school in Jupiter. His son, John, opened up a popular fishing camp there on the property at Du Bois Park, and his daughter-in-law, Bessie Du Bois, opened up a restaurant called the Jupiter Inlet Inn, and Bessie's work would later be the foundation for our historical society. When our lighthouse was built, this was a remote wilderness of Florida with very little access to the rest of the country or the world except by boat. In the 19th century, people would come down the Indian River as the primary mode of transportation down here, first on sailboats and later on steamboats operating out of Titusville. Here at Jupiter, they could get off at the dock located just west of where we are right now, walk down to the end of the dock, get on a narrow gauge railroad, the Jupiter and Lake Worth or Celestial Railroad, and take that 7 miles down to the head of Lake Worth, what they called Juneau. And then they could take boats to get to the rest of Lake Worth, early Palm Beach and West Palm Beach. Among our early visitors was Thomas Carnegie, brother of the famous steel tycoon Andrew Carnegie, who came down here on a hunting and fishing trip and was even photographed at the lighthouse. Other visitors hunting and fishing like Francis Stebbins and James Henshaw wrote accounts of their experiences down here traveling on the Indian River, visiting the lighthouse, seeing this when it was an undeveloped area, and those accounts are so great for understanding what life in the area was like back before settlement happened. The tourists were drawn down here to the Jupiter area because of the Loxahatchee River and its amazing fishing and hunting opportunities. One of the more memorable camps here at the lighthouse was Thomas Carnegie's Camp Shark. The Carnegies and their guests would go hunting for sharks and the large sawfish that could be found in the rivers here, not just offshore, but sometimes even into the Loxahatchee River itself. One of the things that's hard to imagine today is just how plentiful wildlife was back then. People talk about the days of flocks of birds so numerous they could blot out the sun back before plume hunting reduced their numbers. We had manatees, alligators, sharks, huge sawfish in the river. They could catch Goliath grouper not just out in the ocean, but sometimes off the lighthouse dock. Snook was plentiful, mullet runs were a daily occurrence. The fishing, it was amazing today. You can only imagine what it was 100 or even thousands of years ago. The arrival of Flagler's Railroad in 1894 did bring a lot of changes to Jupiter. It ended the steamboat travel for the most part on the Indian River and shifted the population farther west to be by the railroad station. Jupiter was a key part of America's first resort destination. As the end of the steamboat line, as the head of the railroad down to Lake Worth, drawing such luminaries as former President Grover Cleveland for a visit, so many people came here to enjoy the hunting, the fishing, the weather, the scenery, visiting and climbing the lighthouse to take in an amazing view, which is fortunately one that you can still see today. All of this makes Jupiter part of America's first resort destination.